episode 14, featuring crossed swords. Join us as we uncover artifacts from the arcades. My name is Brad. My co-hosts are Sky.
Hey.
Kyle.
Saw dudes.
And Jordan.
I'm Jordan.
That's him, everyone. That's Jordan.
What's up?
Not much. How you guys doing tonight?
Stressed.
Stressing
Yeah.
out, dude.
Struggling to complete this week's game, huh?
Man. Kyle, what time did you start playing today?
I think like maybe 6:30.
Okay, so you started about an hour before me. Typically, I'll play the game the day before, but today I thought I'd be okay to do it the day of, and that was just not the right decision.
Big mistake. Easily one of the, or probably the longest game we've had to play so far.
We'll get into it.
Yeah, let's get into some other games, guys. What else you playing?
I'm not playing anything lately, dude. These games all suck this year.
Nothing good.
Nothing's good, dude.
Damn, harsh.
Gotta find the right ones, man. I'm finding too many games. I'm trying to space them out so I can talk at one game a week here.
Nah, I mean, I don't. You guys are finding like old stuff though. I can't get down with any of that. I need brand new AAA bells and whistles.
Oh, no. Needs all the new shiny toys.
I need all the toys.
We are the exact opposite. Like, exact opposite.
Yeah, you guys are finding things under rocks and in bushes. It's people forgot,
Yeah.
dropped 20 years ago.
I'm playing some newer stuff too, but it's mostly not AAA. It's usually like indie games and smaller stuff. That's what I'm looking for in a game. I just want something I can pick up and play in under like 5 hours, preferably, and complete it.
I think I'm just too competitive. I need something that's like multiplayer that like millions of people are playing, and then I just need to be better than everybody.
Yeah, I used to be right there with you, but I dropped out.
I just like single player stuff. Nice, long, 40, 50-hour game with a good story.
That's too much commitment to me.
Why didn't you like this one then? It was.
I don't. Yeah, you're not kidding, but I don't really have the time anymore to do games like that as much as I would like to. So it kind of, back in the day, I could wipe out one of those games in a week or two, and nowadays we're looking at about a year to get through one of those games.
Right.
I mean, I saw you playing Final Fantasy at Brad's house.
Yeah, so I guess I'll just hop in here then. I finally bit the bullet and bought myself, I don't know if I actually told you guys, I finally bit the bullet, bought myself a PS5. As much as I wanted to hold off as long as possible, I totally splurged the other day. I went out, I used every coupon and everything I could possibly use to buy a PS5, and even bought a brand new TV to go with it. So I went hard.
Nice.
Of course, I bought Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, but I have not started that yet. I'm playing through Remake again first, just because it came out 4 years ago, you know? I mean, obviously, I know Final Fantasy VII in and out, but I just kind of wanted to be fresh on Remake again before I started Rebirth. So I'm doing that on my Steam Deck, which, yeah, that's what you said. You saw me doing, Sky. You got a chance to kind of check that out a little bit for the first time.
It's pretty. That's the first I've seen of it.
Yeah, and it's great, man. It looks awesome.
Game came out 4 years ago. First time I saw it.
4 years. That's crazy to think. 4 years ago, it took that long for the second part of it to come out. But unfortunately, it's just sitting down there waiting for me to finish Remake. Like I just said, man, it takes a lot longer for me to do these games now. I probably still got another good 25 hours to go on Remake before I even finish it again.
Jeez. Is Rebirth pretty much the reason why you ended up getting the PS5?
It is the main reason. I'm a big Madden nerd, so I bought that as well. I have been playing that a bit, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is the first year of Madden where they stopped adding new features to the PS4 version. They still release it for the PS4, but this is the first year where I believe all the new features are only on the current consoles. So that's another thing I'll play on it. But yeah, the main reason was definitely Rebirth.
Yeah, hopefully it was worth it when you get around to playing it.
Oh, dude, I can't wait. I just know it's going to be a while.
Yeah.
Now, would you say that there's now officially as many Final Fantasy VIIs as there are Final Fantasies in total?
Ooh.
There's a lot.
So You got the OG, you got Remake, you got Rebirth. It's before Crisis, if we're counting Advent Children, the movie. There's Dirge of
Crisis Core.
Cerberus, Crisis Core.
Dude, that's 7 right there.
That's 7 right there at least, and I'm sure I'm maybe missing something, but I'm sure I'm probably missing a few things. Yeah, there's a lot of spin-offs for 7, man. That made them all the money. They're gonna keep on milking it.
Technically, we'd be at like Final Fantasy like 24 right now if they were all different games.
Yeah.
I wonder, is that the
I
most
guess.
remade game ever?
Well, they're not all remakes. They're just like offshoots and spin-offs and stuff.
Yeah, but they all have like a connection
Yeah.
to that one. Like, is there any other
Yeah.
game franchise?
That has that
That has
many
that many
spin-offs and
connections.
remakes and oof. I mean,
Tetris.
Yeah, there's an easy one.
I mean, not really, but kind of.
no, I get what you mean.
No, I don't mean
really
like.
don't
Are
know.
you counting Tetris as in like other people like rip-offs of Tetris? Because that's not. I'm not counting that. I mean like the actual company has taken their one title and just milks it for however many different things.
I think there's a bunch of official Tetris games. I don't
There
know.
are, yeah. It's come out for like everything.
It's kind of like
always.
Monopoly.
Yeah.
This is my
That's
first
an
Game
easy
Boy
one,
game.
though, because that's such a simple game in comparison to something like Final Fantasy.
It's the same thing and you just reskin it.
Yeah, I mean, as far as like just one like spin-offs and remakes of a very specific game like Final Fantasy VII, yeah, that's got a lot going on for sure. But then of course there is franchises like Tetris and
I mean, they're a lot more
Pac-Man and
simple
stuff
than
that
a
have
game like Final Fantasy.
yeah, absolutely. Like these are different stories for pretty much all of these games.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know much about all the other Tetris games you guys are referring to, but are they technically like? Because these are all sort of like, I don't know. Like obviously you wouldn't call it like if you had like Final Fantasy VII and then you go to Final Fantasy VIII is like a different game, or you would have like some games have like Diablo 1, Diablo 2, 3, 4, whatever. So Tetris isn't really like. Is that how theirs are? Is theirs structured as in like this is technically Tetris, 1, and now this is Tetris 2?
Do they take place in the same universe?
It's not. But is it technically like how Final Fantasy has taken the one title and then just like branch off, and it's still all tied back to the first one, just remastered or remade or digitally whatever. Like that's not how Tetris is, right? It's just Tetris because it's Tetris.
Well, like the original Tetris, like the original blue shape. And the second one, that's his grandfather. That's his cousin or something like that. Yeah. It's a
oh,
different
so they are related.
Yeah, all the blue shapes are related to each other throughout the Tetris games.
Interesting.
So, yeah, Granddaddy Blue.
Oh, I've heard enough about Tetris.
Yeah, we're a little too far into this.
Scott, you playing anything else?
I've just been playing my usual little mobile games that Jordan loves so much.
Jeez.
He's that's his favorite console.
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
God. Don't you guys have phones?
I was playing a game called. There's a couple I've been bouncing between, but they're basically kind of the same style of game. The one's called Inflation RPG, which has nothing to do with inflation. That's just the name of it. But you pretty much get insane levels. Like, you try to get as far as you can. It's like a roguelike kind of thing. And then when you get so many battles per run, when the run ends, you take your money, buy what you can, and then you restart, and hopefully you have better equipment the next run. You just keep trying to push and see how far you can go. And, like, the numbers in the game are massive. Like, you get, I don't know, thousands of levels. Your attack will hit, like, 3 billion or something crazy. Like, the numbers just get insane looking. But ultimately, you're just slowly pushing and getting better gear and trying to beat the game in hard mode.
So that's why it's called inflation, because your stats and levels are inflated ridiculous.
Yeah, all the numbers in the game are just inflated. There's that one, and then I've been bouncing between that one. I think I don't know if that's the first game of its kind like that I've seen, but it's a really old game though. But then there's a couple other ones that other people made with slight variations. But I've been playing that one, and there's one pretty much just like it called Infinity RPG. It has its own style and own mechanics to it, but it's basically like the same kind of genre, I guess. But I've been playing those kind of games lately. It's easy to pick up and put down. I don't have to sit there and invest a lot of time in it if I don't want to.
Yeah, that's perfect. I hate feeling like you have to, if you start it up, you got to sit there for an hour just to make any progress.
Yeah, I can do like one run in like, I don't know, 5-10 minutes. then it's like, all right, I'm done. Those are the kind of games I've been into lately. Just real quick ones that are easy to play, and then I don't have to sit there and dedicate a ton of time to it if I don't want to.
Well, you might like the game that I've been playing. Then it's a pretty simple one. It's a platformer. I'm gonna spell it because if I say it, it's gonna sound like I'm just making a noise. It's
Like Vamps.
Yeah, you'll understand. It's spelled BZZZT. So I guess it's bzzzt.
Bzzzt.
I guess that's how you pronounce it.
That's the correct.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, if I just said that, you're just like, what is he doing? What's he talking about?
Did you get all 3 Z's in there when you did that? I only heard 2 Z's.
I might have missed a Z. That's why I had to
A
spell
little
it.
longer. Try again.
That was the prequel game. Just bzz.
Yeah, but it's a pretty simple platformer. Well, it gets kind of hard, but I guess the closest comparison I could think of is something like, do you remember that game we used to play in the 360? It was called N+.
Yes, dude, little ninja game with the stick figures.
Yeah, something like that, or maybe like Super Meat Boy, how it's just kind of like isolated maps. You know what I mean? You die, you respawn real quick, and it's kind of obviously get harder as you go.
Yeah.
Something like that, but I really like the real fluid movement, and the music is awesome too. Almost reminds me of something like Mega Man or The Messenger, somewhere in that vein.
Oh, man.
So yeah, it's got a pretty sweet soundtrack, and then the movement's real good. You get like, as you go, you get like upgrades and stuff as you typically do in games like that, but you'll get like a double jump, you get a dash. And what's nice about the dash, a lot of games you'll just like dash and like you get one till you touch the ground. But as long as like you can keep on moving, you can keep dashing. So it really makes the movement, like you can cover some ground and like pull off some crazy stuff.
Sometimes that makes all the difference, just being able to have like a lot of movement like that.
Yeah, it's really fun. It was pretty short. I think I beat it in like 2 hours roughly. I didn't 100% it or anything, but they were like 50 some levels. Some of them you can get by real quick, and then other ones I was stuck on for a pretty long time.
Dude, I think movement is like generally the number one component to almost any video game at this point. Like no matter what the game is, dude, if the movement is just bad, the game sucks.
Yeah, it can definitely make or break a game.
Definitely feels less cheap, and like you have more skill if you're able to, the more freedom you have with your movement and like dashing and all that stuff. Like if you can run around like the Messenger, I think we talked about Messenger like a while ago, but
right.
I just remember the controls in that game like being so awesome. I felt like I was in control the whole time. Like I didn't feel any cheap kills or anything. I actually felt like I had skills and I pulled stuff off.
Yeah, it's like any mistake, it was your fault. It wasn't because something cheap happened.
Yeah,
you just didn't control it right. All right, well that was pretty much it. I pretty much, this podcast just kind of made me stick to one game for 2 weeks without even realizing it. I'm like, I'm just gonna stick with this until the podcast, and I'll try something else out after that. So that's it for me. You guys ready to move into the main game?
Let's do it.
As ready as I'll ever be.
All right, let's talk about crossed swords. Released in the arcades in 1991. It's a third-person hack-and-slash game with some RPG elements in it. Your character's it looks like a wireframe, so you can kind of see through them, similar to how Punch-Out looks, and it's somewhat how it plays. But instead of boxing, it's like a medieval fantasy theme.
It is medieval Punch-Out.
Medieval Punch-Out, yeah, that's the best way to describe it. Punch-Out, how your character just kind of like leans left and right. This you can actually move your character across the screen, so you got a little bit more movement. And I just recently played Super Punch-Out, but unfortunately, my skill didn't seem to translate over here. It's not 1-to-1. I don't know about you guys, but I struggled a bit, definitely, my first time playing through. Just the way the enemies attacked, it was super hard to react to. How'd you guys do with it?
No, dude. I am also terrible at Punch-Out as is. If you want to be legitimately good at this game, you have to have such inhuman, unrealistic reaction time. Obviously, there's people out there who one-coin it. All these games have people like that, and I don't know how. Because your reaction time for this game needs to be absolutely unbelievable if you don't want to take shots.
Yeah.
Some of the enemies had like a little bit of like telegraph to where like it felt like I was actually being skillful and like being able to see whether it was going to be like a high or low attack and be able to block it, and that felt good. But most of the enemies in the game, it was just like a 50-50 guess of like what you were going to try to block because you had no idea what move they were going to do, and that felt awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, certain enemies, man. Right now, off the top of my head, those fish guys were the worst.
They were rough for sure.
The fish I didn't have too much of a problem with because it seemed like, at least for me, they went with a low attack like 80% of the time. So I always guarded low against them.
Unless it was, well, there's different types of enemies. Like, they have, like, the traditional palette swap. Like, different color enemies are harder and stuff.
Right.
I don't know what color. It was a different color fish, but one of them, like, I think he would maybe swing twice. And you could get a couple hits, and then he would, like, spin his mace around and just start smacking you or something.
So they point out in this game, actually, I believe twice, that you should definitely shield first and then counterattack. And it seems like what you were saying, him spinning his mace, that seems to be kind of what happens if you try to just attack him without blocking him first. Like, he's blocking you instead. So it's pretty important in this game to keep your shield up, get your block first, and then start attacking.
Yeah, so some of like the first couple stages, though, like the real weak orc looking dudes or ogres, whatever they are, you can just crouch them. As soon as they hop on the screen, you just beat them down and they die. But that doesn't work for very long, and you definitely got to do what Jordan was saying. You definitely have to block the attack before we start strike, and it's not like you're just going to hack and slash your way through every battle. You're going to get wrecked if you try to do that. But the enemies only have really two basic attacks. Either they're going to attack high or attack low. So either you're holding up to block a high attack or holding down to block a low attack. If you're just standing there, you're just going to eat the shot. You're not blocking anything. So you just got to... They'll have like a little bit of a cue, show them what they're going to do. But like we were saying, it's so hard to react to. I felt like if I blocked it from a high or low attack, I was pretty much just getting lucky. I wasn't like skillfully timing it. I would just be holding up and I happened to block it, and then you can counter off of it.
100%. I would typically just hold the shield, usually up, and if I was right, great, and if I was wrong, not great. And typically, if they hit you, your character kind of gets staggered for a second, so it's kind of hard to shift your focus and shift to the other blocking stance, because a lot of these enemies will attack you multiple times at once, and it seems like the best way to go about it, if you pick the wrong block, it seems to be better to just stay there and hope that they stop hitting you rather than try to go back and forth, because that seems to get me in way more trouble.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I did as well.
I'll go to like block low, they'll hit me high. I'm like, oh, so now I block high. Now they hit me low, and it's like getting comboed. Like, I can't hit anything.
Dude, their combos, they'll take a whole bar of your whole life away if you're not careful. It happens so quick sometimes. You start like panicking, and all of a sudden you're dead, and you gotta use another coin.
No mercy.
One of those dudes in there, I don't know. I swear he has like a 6-hit combo. Is it one of the knights?
Dude, yeah, some of the knights towards the end game, and I don't even know. Maybe I swear I've like, if you miss the first block on that guy on one of those knights, like he just starts going crazy, and you just can't block. Like you just sit there until you die almost.
Yes, there are enemies that will do that.
Yeah, it didn't matter. I could never block. As soon as he hit me the first time, I couldn't even like try to block high and like mess up. It was just, there was no blocking. It was just like stun locked until you're dead.
All right, so I have to ask you guys this: Did you guys press A and B at the same time
Yes.
at any point?
Almost every
Tried.
time.
It didn't always work though, for some reason.
Yeah, there's some variations with the combat. So just press the attack and the magic button at the same time, and you do like that crazy slashing where it just hits everywhere. But if you hold it down when you do it, you'd like blast the enemy away. So if the enemy's attacking you and you press both those at the same time, it'll break their combo and blast them away. And then there's another variation. If you hold it up and press it, you shoot like a range attack, so you can hit the enemies that are like further away from you.
It felt like it was just random to me. I didn't know that you had to use the directional aspect of it as well, because there was one enemy in specific, I think it was one of the skeleton enemies, that ranged attack that you mentioned that you have absolutely obliterates him, and I never knew how to do it consistently. It seemed like it was always random, but I guess I wasn't trying to use the control stick as well with it.
Yeah, well, it's probably because you were trying to like block at the same time, and so like you were focused on like blocking high or blocking low, so you weren't like realizing that like you were actually holding that joystick in one of those directions while you were hitting that double button.
Right.
Yep. 100%. I was also kind of confused as to when you could do the special attacks, because I know the one guy early in the game says that like it eliminates most of your power. And I know there is like a meter that seems to go up and down, but I don't know. Sometimes it just seems like it allows me to do a special attack, and sometimes it seems like it doesn't. I just never fully understood that part.
Well, the special attack just takes a small chunk of one of your HP bars when you use
Oh,
it.
it takes your HP.
Yeah, it's pretty generous though, because you end up getting a lot of HP. It takes like I think half of one of like the little bars, so you can use a lot in one life.
So what's the other meter that's at the top of, not the top of the screen, but the top of like your character's stats? Do you know what I mean? The meter that fills up kind of fast and goes right back down?
Yeah, I just called it the stamina, but basically, it goes down if you like miss attacks, or if an enemy blocks your attack, or they hit you, it goes way down. You got to be careful with that, because if you start spamming and they block it, your stamina bar is going to go way down. I guess it's better to call it a power bar, because if it's low, you do way less damage when you hit them. So if you like miss an enemy and then hit them after that, you're going to do real low damage. It's barely even going to hurt them.
Okay.
Yeah, so that can definitely be punishing if you try to attack after missing or after a block, and you do start hitting them, you're barely going to do any damage.
Wait, so you're saying that pressing the two buttons together to do like the crazy slashing attacks that your guy does, that takes your health away every time you do that?
Yeah, just a small chunk of it.
I did that for like 80% of the game.
I never noticed.
To be honest, it was probably worth it.
It felt worth it to me.
Yeah, because it almost instantly kills a lot of the enemies. And instead, you might end up dying to that enemy. But if you can kill them with half of a little, you know what I mean, one little chunk of HP, it's probably a net positive there.
Yeah, I don't know. I spammed that attack, dude. I found like when the enemies like they would be like different distances away from you, right? So like if they were like farther away, if they had a range ability, then like they would shoot range at you. But a lot of the guys would be like a medium distance, and then like they would always have to jump towards you before like you were like engaged in combat.
Right.
And I would just always time it. So as soon as they like started their jump animation, I would press those two buttons, and my guy would start that crazy slash, and then the enemy would jump right in front of me, and it would just instantly kill them. They didn't have a chance to like block it or anything, and I killed most of the enemies in the game like that.
Yeah, it definitely did work on some of the enemies. I guess maybe like the bosses. If you try to do that, they just instantly block, and you can't even hurt them way. So you have to fight them normally. Did you guys notice that as well?
Yeah, they were like the special type guys that would just block every single attack if you tried to spam like that.
I'm not looking forward to seeing the credit counts here, because I just used A and B.
You didn't use the special at all?
I did not.
Doesn't the game even tell you at some point? I
It does,
I thought the one old guy teaches you.
Did he?
He does.
Did he tell you to hit both of them?
I guess he didn't tell you.
At like
Oh,
the
no, I don't
very
remember
beginning
that.
of the game.
I remember the dodging, blocking, A to attack, the magic, and then like A and down is like a down thrust or something weird like that.
It's not like the introductory guy at the very beginning, like the guy wearing the armor that says like, oh, this button does this button does this. I think it's after you've beat like the first boss or mini boss or something. One of the guys that you rescue comes up and says, oh, if you press A and B at the same time, you'll use a magic attack or something weird like that. Or special attack or whatever.
I don't remember that.
He must not have deemed you worthy.
I guess not.
Damn, dude.
But Kyle touched on how like the way the enemies interact with you. There's essentially like three planes. There's where you're standing, the middle zone where the enemies you're actually fighting will be. Then there's like the third, I don't know, I guess the furthest way back, like way in the background, where those enemies you can't fight, you can't hit them with range. They're just kind of, it's basically where they spawn. Then they'll hop into the middle where you can fight them, and then they kind of hop back and forth between the plane you're on, where you can damage them, then they'll hop back to the middle where you can't hit them unless it's with a range. Which I was thankful that they didn't send more than one at a time, because I seen like three in the back. I was like, oh man, this is gonna be rough if you got to like if multiple of them jump up at once. But they never overwhelmed you with that, at least.
Yeah, it was kind of nice. It was always single combat.
I guess we didn't really cover the magic at all. So there's like a couple different weapons you can get, and they each have their own magic. The first one you start with just shoots like this little little red ball at the enemies. It's just a range attack that fires back. So if they are in that middle plane where you can't hit them, you can launch that at them as well as your power attack. And then the merchant sells a couple other different weapons. Do you guys have a weapon that you picked up along the way?
So the first upgrade I typically went with was, I don't remember the name of it, but it was like the sword that had the mist magic attack. I really, really liked that magic attack because it just kind of stayed on the screen for I think like 6 seconds or something, and anything that it touched was going to get hit by it. But then I did eventually get to a stage, I believe it was like a castle level, where I had a choice between going to an ammunition warehouse or like a food warehouse or something like that. I went to the ammunition one, and the girl there gave me this sword. I don't know if you guys got this sword, but this sword had a magic attack on it that unfortunately did not work against bosses, which was why I eventually replaced it. But against any normal enemy in the game, you can use the magic attack on it, and it like transforms the monster into like a scarecrow looking thing or something, and it only takes like 2 or 3 hits to kill then. And that was busted when I had a harder fight.
Yeah, that's the same route I took. I went to the food warehouse. The ammo warehouse.
So I'm assuming you use that magic attack a lot then too?
Just for the level I got it, but the thing that sucks is I noticed you don't get any drops if you use that, so there's no way to heal or get magic back if you kill them with that thing.
I didn't even
Yeah,
notice
I came
that
to
part.
the same conclusion with that thing. At first, it seems like, dude, this is like the best thing in the game, and then you realize, oh wait, you're not getting any gold, you're not getting any magic back, you're not getting any health. So it's like I'm not even going to buy anything better.
I didn't even notice that part.
I think the mist sword, I didn't have like too much success with that because when I would throw it down, like I was hoping sometimes some of the enemies would sit in it, but like 90% of the time, I would cast it as they were jumping towards me from the background, so they were supposed to land in it. And as soon as they land in it, they would jump right back out of it, so it was kind of wasted. I couldn't keep them inside that.
That did happen a lot, but there were also some enemies that would just stand there in it, and if they were in it, they'd be stunned, and you could attack them with your sword at the same time, so you could really beat up on some enemies with that.
It was a little hit or miss for me on that. I think I pretty much stayed with the shield axe the entire game once I got it. I think that was the best for me.
Yeah, dude, I love that weapon.
Yeah, the shield axe, dude, was beefy.
I never used the axe.
And like every weapon has a DX version. So like the shield axe DX, you get like 16 charges on it.
Like Shawn Michaels and Triple H and...
Jordan, you didn't use the shield axe at all?
Nope, I didn't use the axe at all. I always went with the swords.
Oh,
Sam,
man.
and that axe is, I think it's so great.
That would have been your favorite. You're always saying you're like the defensive HP stacking tank
Yeah.
guy. That was the weapon for you that you missed.
It's pretty much an auto block without you having to use your shield. Like if you cast that, it puts a shield around you. Any enemy that hits you, it acts like you just blocked them.
I knew about that, but I really wanted to have good, strong magic attacks for the bosses, so I kind of just stuck with the swords.
I think the shield was even better. The shield axe was like, it would persist for like, seconds. So like it wouldn't just block one attack, it could block multiple while you just swing away for free, which like you would do more damage just swinging away like that than like trying to hit one magic attack, it felt like.
That thing's the reason I survived against most of the bosses too. Most of my deaths were from like normal enemies. It wasn't even the boss. As until I got shield axe, I was having a rough time.
Yeah, I should have tried it, but whatever. Did you guys eventually get the, I guess it's just called Fira sword? Fira sword, whatever? Fira?
Yeah, I messed up big time on that.
I didn't really like it, honestly.
That thing sucked.
Yeah.
Because it was like more expensive. It was like near the end of the game, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was $9,000.
Right.
Yeah, so I was like, dude, this thing looks awesome. And there's only like, 6 charges on it or something like that?
Yep.
And the damage, I swear, like, it didn't even do that much.
Oh no, its physical attack was incredible. It one-shot most of like the basic enemies.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
the
think
magic
it was.
on it.
Oh no, the magic sucked, but the physical
Yeah.
damage, it was much stronger than any other weapon that I found.
The good thing about its magic attack is that it would hit an enemy no matter where they were at on the screen.
Nah, I messed up and bought that, and I was like, oh man, I got rid of my Shield Axe DX for this thing.
That's what I did, dude.
As soon as that popped back up, too, I grabbed it.
I was mad because I got to the next to last merchant and I was ready to try this sword out. And I was legitimately only 50 gold short of buying this damn thing. And I had to go through another like 20, 25 minutes of gameplay before I got to the last merchant in the game and was able to finally buy it. Yeah, its magic attack isn't strong, and it doesn't have many charges, but it is nice that it can hit an enemy no matter where they're at. And the damage was just so beefy with the melee attacks. But I guess overall, listening to this, I should have definitely tried the axe.
Oh, you would have loved it.
I'm sure.
It was that damn puppet sword that's why you were short on gold, because you're using that to kill the enemies, and they weren't dropping anything for you. Another thing with that puppet sword that turns them into like those little scarecrows, the way the shield functions, it was the opposite of the shield axe. It's kind of weird. You guys might not have noticed it because you didn't really pay attention to that stamina as much as I did. But with the puppet sword, your stamina is always completely down. So it only charges if you're holding your shield up. So it's kind of the opposite of the shield axe. That one, if you're holding your shield up, your stamina is constantly draining down. So it was actually kind of cool. They had different properties like that, I thought.
I didn't know that was part of the shield axe.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, the regular sword, I don't know about the fire sword. I didn't really pay attention to the properties of the stamina on that, but it's like the basic sword, your stamina just kind of stays full. But when the shield, and you hold a shield up, it still stays full. But for the shield axe, it drains. And for the puppet axe, it actually builds. So they kind of made them opposite.
So nobody tried the thunder sword?
I did like once. But again, it had low charges on it, so I'm like, I could either get this or get a bunch of charges with the shield axe and not die for like 20 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, shield axe was definitely the GOAT. What about, like, at random points in the game, like the villagers and stuff would, like, offer you, like you said, like the swords and stuff they would give you, but they also were, like, you got, like, 3 or 4 different shields as you played through the game. Did they actually do anything?
I don't know that.
I thought that was like a plot thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. Because it's not like your shield, either you block it and take no damage, or you don't block it and take damage. I don't know what the shield would actually upgrade would do.
I think that was just part of their story or something.
Yeah, they would just give you, like, newer upgraded shields, and, like, it would change, like, your guy would actually be holding, like, whatever the new shield was that they gave you. But, like, I didn't notice, I don't know, like, maybe I would take less stamina from blocking an attack or something, but, like, it just always seemed the same.
Yeah, they're like mandatory upgrades too. I think you just get them at the same point every time also.
Yeah, I think so as well. I actually have, here's the dialogue I thought was funny, just the way it was like worded. I don't know if you guys read much of it, but like the texts are real short, so it would have like, the sentence would break at a weird spot, and then it would like, the last word would continue on before the next sentence. And just the way I read it is the way like it was on the screen. I'm going to read it to you how I read it. All right, he says, I am too old to continue. Fighting, you must continue. The pursuit, use the shield for protection.
I remember that exact guy.
Why do you sound like Asher from Spartacus?
Yeah. There were a lot of dialogue like that in this game, where I was like, something's not making sense, and then it would continue, and I'm like, oh that's what he meant.
Yeah, it was so many times.
Why is this dude walking around in a full suit of armor if he's too old to fight?
Oh, man. Whatever shield you need, Asher provides.
So whenever you would show up to the option where you could go to the merchant, it says, I forget what it says go to merchant or something like that, and the other one says go faster. I was kind of thought that was weird. I was like, the shop can't take that long. It's not like it's going to slow me down that much, is it? But actually, it literally makes your character move faster if you click the go faster option. Did you guys ever use that, or did you always just go to the shop?
Wait, you mean when you're fighting, you can move faster?
Yeah, your character moves a little bit faster left and right.
So yep. You just keep stacking that?
I don't know if it stacks. It might just be a one-time use. Every time you like go back to the option to go to the shop or get the speed boost, it resets. That's what I thought.
So that kind of stuff is like, how would you? There's no way to know that when you would see that menu come up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought go faster were just like their like crappy English saying like keep moving or something.
Yeah, it's very literal.
Yeah, wow. If I'd have known that, dude, as soon as I got my axe, I just would have kept skipping.
I only ever did that one time, and I honestly didn't even notice a difference.
Yeah, same. I think I like timed out on the menu, you only have like
Same.
so long before you pick something, and if you don't pick it, I think it just like defaulted to go faster. But I didn't notice me going faster, so
So
Exactly
if
the
you go slower,
same.
you go faster.
yeah. The
Yes.
slower you go, the faster you are. It is worth noting, like for a lot of the enemies, like they would either have like an overhead swing, so you had to block high, or they would swing from like left to right, and you had to block low to block those attacks. But since you could move left and right a good bit on the screen, you could actually just move out of the way of some of the attacks. So like sometimes I would like hold in like block up, so that way if no matter what, if they came from a high attack, I would block it. But as I'm doing that, I'd also be like kiting left and right. So in case it was a side attack, sometimes I could sidestep it. So you're kind of what I mean, you're trying to like block high, but like avoid a side attack.
Yeah, that's my general strategy as well. I would always go to like the whole way to the left side when they're like away from you. And as soon as they jump into your plane, I would start moving to the right. That way I could always predict which way, you know what I mean? They can't move left any further. So I'd move a little bit to the right. They'd miss their attack, and I'd move back over and strike them.
I started doing that maybe halfway through the game.
Yeah, it felt like you had to. It was the only way because, like we said before, a lot of these attacks are not telegraphed, and it's just you're just gambling. You have no idea which attack they're about to do.
That's why I thought that speed really came in handy, because some of the enemies were like exactly as fast as you. Some of like the harder enemies. With that speed boost, you could like just outrun them, so it made it a little easier to dodge their attacks like that. The only thing that got me with that was, I think the very last merchant, it doesn't give you the option. He just says something and then he forces you to go to the shop. So then like the last chunk of the game, you can't get that speed boost anyway. You guys got anything else about the combat you wanted to talk about?
All the enemies that spit fire suck.
Ah, the projectiles.
'Cause
Yeah.
They were tricky.
Yeah, you couldn't. Again, there was no real animation. Like after they would start it, you could see it, but like as they were like charging up their fire breath and spitting it out, you didn't really know right away if it was going to be a high or low attack. And like if you mistimed it, or if you blocked the wrong attack, you could switch like while you were taking damage, so you could block like the rest of the fire, but you're still going to get hit by some of it, and that stuff would like tick your HP away very quickly.
Yeah, those giant centipede bosses did that a lot.
Yep.
See, but that giant centipede boss was very easy because all you had to do was move to the opposite side of the screen and then it would spit the fire, and you can see if it was at the top or bottom.
Yeah, that's when I started kiting back and forth.
Yeah, it'll follow you, then you just go to the other side. And you kind of have a decent bit of time to check it out and see where it's going to be. The thing, I think the enemies that drove me nuts the most are those kind of like giant hornet things that fly towards you, because you don't really see them coming at all. They just show up on the screen and kind of just suicide bomb into you.
Yeah.
And I never even knew if you could attack those things back.
Yeah,
You have to catch them as soon as they get there.
Pain in the ass.
Those things were annoying.
If you don't know they're coming, they're pretty much always going to get you, because you kill the enemy and you're waiting for the next one to spawn. Like maybe you land in the middle, then jump forward, and they just come darting right at you and get some cheap damage on you. How about the goat you had to fight? That that guy was funny.
Garbad.
Yeah, Garbad. That's what I was thinking.
Little Baphomet dude out here.
Wonder if that's where they got Garbad from.
Maybe could have been some early inspiration.
The goat was a pain. Like, he was tough. And then there was another version of him. There was another version of him later that was the exact same enemy, just like a reskin. And I believe he called himself Satan Goat. That was great. I loved him. Just, I am Satan Goat. Okay?
Yeah, I think that's the one I'm thinking of. Was he like in a cave, like the end of the cave?
Yeah.
That guy, I'm pretty sure I two-shot that guy.
Yeah, he went down kind of
That really
quick,
was
but,
Garbad.
like,
Yeah.
the way they counterattack you, though, is brutal sometimes.
Yeah, I think I had the shield axe at that time. I think I just activated shield axe and then
There you go.
hit my like super button and just like did it twice and just killed him.
Yeah, I really liked the knights, the different colored knights. I believe there was green, red, blue, and black. Especially the black armor knights. They look sweet. They kind of remind me of Power Rangers a little bit, though. But they look pretty cool.
They had like the Dragon Knight versions too. Guys with like wings.
I mean, some of these enemies just crazy annoying, dude. Like what is it? Is it a eyeball?
Oh yeah.
It's like a floating eyeball that it's like you don't really know. Like he like makes 10 other smaller eyeballs, and they all come flying at you, and like some of them are high attacks, some of them are low attacks, but like the visuals don't add up. So you really don't know how to block any of that.
Some of the enemies and the bosses have like annoying attacks where they'll cast them, and you don't know if it's high or low until it gets right to you.
Yeah, and then it's just too late.
It's like a jester boss or something like that. He throws like little whirlwinds.
Death Masquerader, I thought he was pretty cool. He like came off of a Joker card.
Yeah, that's what it was, the Joker guy. Okay.
Actually, I thought I had that guy figured out.
I kept getting hit by them little whirlwind thingies.
I thought it was always like the two little discs that he throws was always a high attack, and he would like snap his fingers, and the thing would come from it like around his feet, and that was always a low attack. I think I always like blocked every one of them.
That's what I thought too.
I don't know. I struggled to block those things. I had a hard time with that.
I'll tell you who else was like, if we're talking about like decent enemies, like so that guy I actually thought was a decent enemy because like I said, I think I blocked most of his things because they were like telegraphed, and I think 99% of the time like that held true. And then he's kind of like a big robotic knight. I don't know if you guys know who I'm talking about. He's like a big,
the golem things.
Yeah, it's like a big Templar looking golem.
Yeah.
At first he was annoying, and then once I figured him out, it seemed like he would always alternate attacks. Like he would attack multiple times in a row, but like whatever his first attack was, like if it was high first, he would always go low, but then he would alternate. So he would do like high, low, or if he started low, it would be low, high. It didn't seem like there may have been once or twice maybe where he kind of did like a double attack, like 2 highs or 2 lows or something, but for the most part it was always alternating. So like those enemies actually felt good to fight because I felt like you were like getting good at the game and like you had some skill and you could like read his attacks and block them.
Yeah, I cheaped out on. I think you had to fight like 3 of those in a row. I think that was the same one. I just used like the AB attack and it just completely killed him before he could do anything all 3 times. I didn't really have to mess with him.
Yeah, that's pretty useful.
Yeah.
See, I think what you just said there is maybe the worst part about this game is it just freaking repeats over and over. You'll see these same enemies 9 million times. They'll even start reusing some of the bosses later, but you'll fight one, then you'll think, okay, let's move on. Nope, you got to fight another. All right, let's move on. Nope, you got to fight a third. Sorry, you got to fight a fourth. Just in a row, constantly, and it just felt like it refused to stop. You're just fighting the same enemies over and over again.
Yeah, it definitely went on a bit too long. It overstayed its welcome, I'd say.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, I didn't mind that part as much as, like, you'd be, like, what was there, 6 overall, like, stages in this game? But you'd be on, like, stage, like, 4, 5, 6, and, like, they would still be bringing back the guys from stage 1.
The little like, rats and ogres. Yeah.
Yeah, just, like, the weird, like, the guys on stage 1 and 2, like, the introductory guys, like, that take, like, 1 or 2 hits to kill. Like, they would literally appear on your screen with, like, half an HP bar. Because for some reason they couldn't like adjust the HP bar. They left it like the same like pixel size, but just like gave them less HP to like signify that they didn't have as much health.
Dude, I liked it when you fought the rats again though, because they were so easy and they always dropped health. I noticed every time you kill them, you get some HP back.
I mean that's
was
cool,
a nice
but
little
like,
beast.
Get out of here, dude.
You got no business being here.
Yeah, man, they managed to make this game hella long for only having very, very few things really in it. Like, how many different character models are really in this game? But they managed to make this game, for my playthrough, was an hour and 45 minutes long. And they managed to use maybe like 6 or 7 different enemies and a few reskins. And they just repeat them. It's crazy.
I thought it was a good bit of enemies, actually.
You think?
There were definitely some reskins, but...
Yeah, I think it's just a lot of reskins. I don't think there's a whole lot of unique enemies. Maybe a few more than I said, but not a crazy amount for an almost 2-hour game.
If this game was like 40 minutes, it still would have been awesome.
Yeah, it would have been way better.
Yeah, they could have chiseled it down a bit. And then, of course, as they always do, you get a nice little boss rush at the end of the game before they fight the actual final boss. And I think most of those enemies, you couldn't use the special attack, the AB. So I would just do what I did after I got the shield axe. You just pop the shield axe, let them bounce off it, then you can hit them like 4 times, and then you just move away and do the same thing over and over again. It made it a lot easier to get through, I thought.
Man, I really messed up.
And it's nice too, like you get lucky, like say you use a couple shields. Like by the time you fight a boss, like some of the enemies might have replenished your magic. So now you're like fighting a boss now with full shield stacks.
Yeah, the Shield Axe DX held like 16 charges, I think.
Yeah, man, that thing was beefy.
Yeah, you could just constantly reuse it pretty much as soon as it went away. Before the enemy would jump back into attack, you would just cast it again and you'd be set.
And then even if you die, it's like, oh, you spent 1 credit and now you have 16 more charges again.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, oh man.
What I would do is I would use like all my shields until they were 0 if I didn't die, and then I would keep spamming my special until I was almost dead, because if I didn't have any of my shields, I was going to probably die anyway, so I would just keep on getting as many cheap kills as I could with the special until that was gone.
Yeah. I'd like to replay through this, but it's so long, man.
Yeah, I could never do the whole game again.
But I did like the game though. But I don't know if I can just stand sitting there again for almost 2 hours playing it.
I only did it 3 times, so, I know how it is.
Jeez, so you spent like 3 hours?
Yeah. Well, each one got a little bit quicker, understanding how to get through stuff faster.
I just tried to like very quickly count the enemies, and like not counting reskins. I think it's like almost 15 different enemies, and then if you want to count the final boss, it would be 16, give or take.
That's not too bad.
That's what I thought. I thought there was like a decent variation.
For a 2-hour game, that's not good.
I mean, 2 hours for you. I don't think it took me 2 hours.
I'm sure it wasn't that far off. It was an hour and 45 minutes for me,
yeah.
and it had to have been pretty close.
I didn't think the final boss was too hard, though.
He had multiple forms, didn't he?
The first stage was
forms.
super easy. The second stage had insane HP.
Yeah, the first stage was super easy. You would just dodge one attack, hit him 4 times, he would jump away. You could just do that the whole way through his first stage. He would just try to punch you, just move out, attack him, and he'd run away. And then when he transforms, it took forever to kill. Like I said, I did it multiple times. If you had the fire sword, you could definitely hit him way harder. He took a lot more damage, but I thought it was harder to do that, and rather than just using the cheap shield axe where you could just pop the shield, take a hit, and swing back. But it barely did any damage to him. So that fight took so long with the shield axe.
Yeah.
I'm terrified to tell you guys my token total on this game after you guys all used this axe.
I'm probably going to be right there with you, Jordan. Probably not too far off. I don't know.
We'll see.
I'd imagine I'm at least third. Maybe. I think Kyle and Brad probably at least have me beat.
I mean, there were like 3 times probably in this game that I was close to just quitting. So
Same.
Oh man,
Me
it was
too.
usually during the nights, the night guys that like would infinite combo your whole health bar away. You like couldn't start blocking.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was about to just be done, dude.
Dude, and one other thing I realized while watching this video right now is that Shield Axe DX, I think the magic had 16 charges of that, and the Fire Sword only has 6. That's insane.
That's what you were saying earlier. Even if
nutty.
you die, you just recharge 16 more shields.
Yeah, you get all your magic
and the
back.
Fire Sword had 6 charges, so it had way less, and it was way worse. Like as far as the magic side of it went. So I don't know why they gave you so few of them when it did almost nothing anyway.
Yeah, it just had them. It was just all melee weapon, really.
Yeah, if you're really good at the game, it would be the best option, because if you can block and dodge perfectly, you're going to get through it faster because they die quicker. But none of us did that.
I definitely recommended to use it.
Shout out to the little frogs that attack you by burping at you.
Oh yeah, those guys are funny.
Yeah, they got annoying sometimes when I didn't realize they were like in the front attacking, or where you could attack them, then they'd hop to the back and start like burping at you, and that was tricky to block sometimes. They would just keep on spamming it.
But then, like, the basic version, the green version, have the freaking, like, Vega Wolverine claws, which is sick.
Yeah.
And then the strong red version has, like, these swords attached to his hand, which is also sick. These are the coolest frogs I've ever seen.
I thought they were decent to fight too, as far as like their telegraphs went.
Yeah, they weren't super hard. They ran away sometimes, though, before you could kill them.
Dude, you know what I'm noticing watching this playthrough? I'm watching this guy fight the final boss using the Fire Sword, And it looks like when the boss comes close, he just does his crazy combo, whatever. But when the boss backs up, I'm sure you guys seen when the boss goes back, he'll usually do like that firestorm attack that kind of like rains down from above. You almost always get hit by. Well, this guy's using the fire sword magic. So when the boss backs up, he hits the magic button, and it looks like when the fire goes out, the magic hits the boss. It like triggers the boss to advance forward, so the boss never attacks.
Yeah, it does seem to interrupt him at least.
Yeah, so it's like anytime the boss goes back, he uses the fire magic sword, and it makes the boss come back forward, and then he just melee attacks him again. So this boss actually never even gets a chance to attack.
Wow.
And that's nice and all, but I would have died 100 times with that damn fire sword trying to get there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, trying to get there for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
But there's probably like a turning point, right, where it's like use axe up until like the castle or something, and then switch to fire sword.
Dude, I almost forgot about the giant crab enemies.
Oh yeah, the crab, dude, the massive crabs.
The massive crabs, dude.
Too.
Crab people, dude. He surprised me. Like he came out of nowhere because on the first stage where you fight one of the crabs, like you defeat the mini boss, and then someone like a distant voice starts talking to you and says something about like, "Oh, you're going to die to my sword now." And then the next thing you see on the screen is this giant crab slowly showing up from the bottom of the screen. I don't think that's who was talking to me, but he was something. No, it made no sense at all.
It felt like up until that point, and even after that, like everything that all the enemies you encountered kind of felt like they belonged in that world, but like the crab just had no business being there.
It's just an enormous freaking crab.
The mist sword actually worked pretty nice on him.
Oh yeah, that's what I always used against him. He got messed up by that pretty good.
Yeah, watching that playthrough, Kyle, of you saying how he's using that magic on the final boss, it looks like just those 6 charges are just about enough to take him out without getting hit. I think you have to block, the last one?
Well, he doesn't even do that. Once he runs out of the charges, he uses his ranged attack.
Yeah, I did not even use that.
Which I guess, theoretically, you could just use that every time then, and you wouldn't actually need Fire Sword.
Dude, his second form didn't even hit him once.
He didn't even get to attack once.
He didn't even swing. Yeah, what?
I mean, again, we're watching this dude that won credit the whole game, so he makes
so he knows
a lot
everything.
easier. Yeah.
Here I am, average Joe. Oh, I should have did that. I'd never even would have known that.
Well, sure that guy didn't do that on his first playthrough, so this is like, now that you know it, you could probably fight that final boss and not let him attack you.
Yeah.
True.
But speaking of the final boss, dude, this might have been the most stand-up final boss I've ever seen, because when you first get to him, he's like, he kind of gives you your flowers, man. He's like, you know what? It's like, you were pretty brave getting here. He's like, I'm just gonna give the princess back. Which, to be honest, up until that point, I had no idea there was a princess involved. I just thought these things were like attacking towns, and we were just trying to save the towns, like, and get rid of monsters. And then all of a sudden, he was like, "Here's a princess."
Now that I think of it, though, there is a part early in the game. It's whenever you fight the goat boss for the first time, and there is, in like the background of the screen, there is a knight that is holding a woman like hostage and disappears with her. You might not even notice it, but I do recall that.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, when you get to the final boss at that point, you pretty much win the game. Like, I just would have turned around and been like, all right, I'm going home. Thanks for the princess, bro.
Yeah.
Well, doesn't he say like, all right,
you don't even
I'm
have to
kill
stay
you
and fight
instead?
him.
Yeah, like, you have to die for sure, but he was pretty stand-up as being like, whether you live or die, here you can have the princess.
He wasn't that bad of a guy, really, when you get down to it.
Yeah.
Maybe he just wanted the challenge, that's all. He never wanted the princess in the first place. Oh, I'm seeing that text box B was talking about how they split it up all weird.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The final boss. What's he saying? He goes, "You show courage in coming here because of that I am sending back your princess. Now you will die in peace."
Is that it?
The pauses were so long.
We
didn't
thought
know
there
if
was another one.
line.
Yeah, I didn't know if you were done or if you were waiting for the next text box.
I had to make you wait for it, man.
Keep us on our toes.
Oh, this game actually is available on Switch, I noticed. It's like $8. You can get the port of it. I think it might be on like PlayStation and Xbox as well. But that's how I ended up playing it on the go, is for the Switch port, because I couldn't get to work on my Steam Deck. So I just put it for the Switch one, and it was 1-to-1. It was exactly the same, which was nice.
Yeah, this was one of the few games that I had to play it on my actual arcade cabinet. So I got the full legit arcade experience with this one.
Yeah, that's how I did initially to learn the game, and then I was like, all right, I'm not going to sit down and play this again. And I found out there was another way I could get it on the go. I was like, all right, I can play this another time or two, since I can run it on break here and there.
And you guys make it to character level 11?
I
Thought
don't
I
even
got to,
remember.
Yeah, 11
Yeah, I
was
got to
max,
either 10
but
or 11.
I think I got to 10, and I was like 20 XP short.
I know I got to like the 999 experience or something. I didn't
What
pay
even happens
super
with the
close
levels?
attention.
Do you just get more health?
I think
Yeah, I
just
think
more
health.
HP.
Yeah, that's all I noticed that went up as well.
I don't think I'm maxed out. I probably hit 10, I'd imagine.
So you get to level 10, and then the experience does keep going up to 999. So I'm assuming it must go to 11 and stop. I think I maxed it out.
Yeah, it gets to 10. You need 999 to get to 11. And then once you get to 11, it's 999 again. Then it just caps out there, it looks like. I'm not sure if I actually hit 11. I've seen all the 9s, but it also does that on level 10. So I think I got partially through 10. Because I don't remember my last HP ever being full. You only get like that half bar.
Yeah, I think I had all the bars except for the last one. I had like a half a bar. I was level 10 with it was like 970 something XP at a 999.
Dang, right there. Well, you guys got anything else to say before we move on?
I think I got through most of it.
Yeah, I think we covered it pretty well.
All right, moment we've been waiting for. Let's move into our credit usage. Who wants to kick it off first with this one?
Oh, man.
Not me.
I'll start. I don't know where Jordan's at. I feel like me and Jordan are probably around the same.
I don't think we are,
Maybe.
man. I think you're going to be way better than me.
I don't know. All right.
I
mine
think you are.
Let me see. Let's see. I have this somewhere.
This is one of those text boxes.
You keep me in suspense, man.
My ex.
All right. I spent 43 total getting through this game.
Oh, that's not bad.
That's
For your
not
first
bad,
run,
dude.
you made it seem so bad. That's not bad.
Wait a minute. Wait. You said it's not bad, but who just went, oh? Who did
That
that?
was me.
That was Jordan.
Oh,
Jordan,
yeah.
you make me think that's really bad. Why'd you do that?
Oh, no, I made you think.
I don't
you
think
made
that's
me
bad.
think it's really
dude.
good. Don't worry
I'll
about
give
it.
mine. Because mine's worse than that.
Thank God. Please be way worse.
I spent 61.
Okay, yeah.
That's not as far off as I thought you'd be. I thought you guys were going to be way ahead of me or something on that.
Ah, man. I was 63.
Dang, we almost tied.
All right, it's not as wild as I thought. I thought you were about to say like 120 or something the way you're saying.
No, but I'm so glad there was at least somebody else in the 60s because I thought I was going to be like 20 tokens behind.
Well, I would have did the worst if I stuck with my first run. My first run took
Oh,
me
why didn't you bastard?
75 credits on my first run.
Whoa.
It was ridiculous.
Jeez.
Because I used that puppet sword so much, and I didn't have like any gold. So then I wanted to get the better weapons, but I didn't have any money. So I was like, well, I guess I'm stuck with this stupid thing forever where you can't even use the special on any of the bosses. But I eventually got it down to 35 at the end of my third playthrough.
Nice, man.
Dang.
You did 3 playthroughs, dude?
I sure did.
No way.
I was done after the first.
Yeah, I feel a little better because I played it yesterday for maybe 25, 30 minutes. Then I did my actual playthrough today. So I'm kind of just counting that as a one playthrough game, like maybe like 1 1/3 at most. So I feel a little better knowing that your first run was that bad.
Yeah.
This game is a freaking coin muncher, dude.
Yeah, it can be brutal. Like I said, I did 3 playthroughs. My second playthrough was 36, and then my third playthrough was only 35. I was like, man, that was not worth it. I should have
Dang,
just
dude.
stopped.
Yeah, it's not worth the extra 2 hours.
All right, let's put a rating on this one then. We're going to rate it out of 5,000 because, that's our favorite weapon in the game. The Shield Axe DX costs 5,000, so.
That's not my favorite weapon.
Oh, it would have been your favorite if you would have tried it.
Yeah, probably would have been. I'm sure. God, 5,000. See, whenever it's a really high number like this, it's so hard to accurately rank it.
Just delete the zeros and think of it that way, then add the zeros back on at the end.
So it's just like out of 5. Nah, see, y'all like to do these nice, solid, even numbers, and I like to get kind of crazy with it. So we're gonna give this out of 5,000. We're gonna give it a 3,113.
Okay, not bad.
Out of 5,000. Sky, what is this, inflation? And that's a callback, ladies and gentlemen.
All the way back to the beginning of the ep.
All right, let me figure this out, dude.
Gotta do some math.
Yeah, I gotta do some number crunching real quick. Let me think.
Check with your accountant.
Enemies. I thought there were a decent amount of enemies, like I counted before. There's like 15 or so, give or take. A couple of reskins, but we expect that of every game like this. I think the idea of the combat was cool. The execution was maybe a little off. The boss is a nice guy.
Boss is a nice guy.
He welcomed
The
him
only
into his
time-
home.
The only time you'll ever hear that in a game, man. He was so nice.
I'm kind of torn. I want to give it like I'm gonna go 1,500.
Whoa.
Ooh.
Okay, pretty low.
Yeah, this game sucks.
Oh man.
I guess
think
he
it was
wasn't
that
that
bad.
nice.
I'll say this game definitely gets points for being the most unique game that we've played so far, but it loses points, man. Even on just the length alone, it loses points for too many things.
Like, it is repetitive. It is super long game. It probably could have been half the length, and it would have been just as good, maybe even better, because you don't have to slog through the same thing for that long. The combat was awesome. Like we said earlier, it's like a medieval Punch-Out, which is awesome.
Right.
But the only difference is Punch-Out, their boss patterns were actually way cooler, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
It seemed more random in this game, obviously, because it's a quarter muncher, so... I did like it, though. I don't think it was terrible at all. But it just took way too long, and sometimes it felt a little random. I'd probably give it maybe, I don't know, let's do 3,900.
Okay, that's roughly. I'm in that same range. I went with 38.97. That's what I'm giving it. If it was shorter, I think it would have been much better. That was the biggest flaw, is how long it was. It just kept going on and on. It's like, guys, is this ever gonna end? And it didn't. It just never ended.
And it didn't. He's still playing it right now, actually.
But yeah, I thought it was still pretty fun though. I enjoyed it. It just not something you want to keep replaying because how long it is.
So it gets bonus points for the final boss being a good guy, huh?
Dude, I was gonna give it about 1,000, and then I thought about how nice the boss was, and he just gave me the princess, so I just gave him 500 points.
So you got a point, man. If the Archlich would have just been a friendly dude, maybe I would have said D&D was a better game than Ninja Turtles, but unfortunately, he was a dick.
Nope.
Held him back.
I don't know. For me, like this game was we'll just say it's 2 hours long, and there's like not a second of the game where you're not locked into combat, and like the combat just wasn't that good. Like I said, the idea of the combat was good, but the execution of the combat was bad. The fact that I have to just take a 50-50 gamble almost on like 80% of the enemies I'm fighting, which is all I'm doing for 2 hours straight, it just didn't feel good. And it's like every time you would like miss, you would block like the wrong direction. It never felt like, oh, I missed that block because I made a mistake. It just felt like I missed that block because I chose heads and it was tails.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I definitely hear you out on that one.
I just can't do it.
I wish the boss fights were more like Punch-Out, where it was rather than just straight up reaction and randomness, it was more of like a pattern you could start to recognize. Like these guys, they would throw something like last second, I'd be like, oh, that's a high move, but I block low, so I'm getting hit this time. Like,
yeah, but like, don't get me wrong, like I would love it if it was reaction based, but it didn't even feel like it was that. It was like, it was like split second. It was like some of the, that's why I said like 80% of the time, because sometimes there were enemies where like they did kind of have patterns and I kind of figured them out and that felt good, or there were enemies that like the attacks were just a second or two more telegraphed and it actually let you use your reaction time. But like for 80% of the enemies, it was just a coin flip, and it just felt, that's like the whole combat there felt really bad.
That's the thing, like you get stuck in a random combo, but if you kind of had an idea of when that combo was starting, maybe you could have did something to like avoid a hit or something like that. Like Punch-Out, like what is like the bosses in that game? What do they? They usually have like the same kind of combos, like their big moves before you can attack them or something like that.
Right, yeah.
It's like Piston Hurricane's always gonna like punch the same way when he comes in at you after he does his little dance, and then it's usually always the same. Whatever, block low, dodge to the side, block, duck. This game, it's like, every move I do, I might get hit or I might not.
Yeah, I was expecting it to be more like Punch Out at first. I thought it was going to be like that. Every like enemy was going to have a specific pattern that you could learn, but it didn't really turn out that way.
Yeah. Which is it's still kind of cool though. Like, I guess Punch Out's more memory and pattern based, whereas this is more on the reaction side of things. So it's like in the moment, kind of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I still feel like they missed the mark there, which is my issue.
Yeah, sometimes you don't have enough time to react.
Yeah, like I don't mind, like I like patterns are cool, but I even like randomized patterns where it's like maybe, you know, he doesn't always do the same moves in the same sequence all the time. I could care less about that. But it's just the fact that it was like, it never felt like I could see a move coming and then be able to block it. I always had to like preemptively guess what I thought he was going to do, and then either I'm right or wrong.
Well, Kyle, since you're so opinionated on this game, where do you want to put it in the rankings?
Oh, well, let me bring the rankings up here.
Where you want to start us off here?
While I bring the rankings up, I'm just going to start at the very bottom, and let's see where it actually ends up here.
I'm pretty open because I can see it going both ways. I did like it, but I see a lot of flaws, so I could see it going down pretty far too. My personal rating doesn't always factor into the ranking list because just because I liked it a lot doesn't mean I think it deserves to be super high.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, for sure this is going to go above WrestleFest.
Yeah.
I think, even though I didn't absolutely love this game, it's got to go above WrestleFest.
Jeez.
Probably still better, though, than Escape from the Planet of the Robot Monsters.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm with you so far.
Agreed.
Probably has to go under Metal Slug.
Oof.
What do you guys think? I'd go as high as above Boogie Wings, but I don't know what you guys think.
I think I'm at least above Boogie Wings. I'd put this above Joe and Mac, honestly. Joe and Mac's kind of the same repetitive thing over and over, just like this game.
It is, but it felt way more fluid, and I like Joe and Mac better, I think.
Yeah, like I like the gameplay a lot, but I don't like the gameplay for as long as you have to play it.
This goes back to our opening of the show here, talking about the movement. That Joe and Mac movement just really sets it above it for me.
Yeah, dude. They were schmoovin'. I think Mega Twins was better.
This is like the hardest one to do.
Like you're saying, Brad, I could see it high just because it's unique. It's like a medieval Punch Out almost. It has reaction time, so like you can't have a lot of skill, but it just takes forever. There's not a whole ton of enemies, like Kyle said. They're just mostly palette swaps, and they all do the same thing the whole game. I don't know, man. This is a really hard game.
This is hard. This is a very hard one.
I mean, I can go anywhere below Mega Twins. I think Mega Twins is better than this.
I don't know if I agree with that statement, but I'm okay with that, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know.
I could see this
I
going
could see it
anywhere.
around under Mazinger, maybe.
Jordan, we didn't really hear anything from you yet.
I could see this going anywhere from like 8 through 11.
Ah.
And I just don't know. Like, I do want it above Escape from the Planet of the Robot Monsters for sure. At least above that.
Okay.
But
I think we're all in that same boat. That's an easy lock.
Yeah.
as far as between this, Mega Twins, Boogie Wings, and Slug, I am at a loss. And I don't know why this is so difficult for this game.
I just don't feel strong about any of those that I don't really care what order those four go in, I feel like. So it doesn't really matter. I'm cool with any of that.
I would put it at 7 and bump everything down. That's just me.
Going above Mega Twins.
I would, yeah.
He's going above Joe and Mac, dude.
Yeah, I don't want this above Joe and
Joe
Mac
Mac's
personally.
kind of just more of the same. It's just a platformer instead of whatever this was. There was nothing different in Joe and Mac at all. It was a fun game, but I mean,
This game just really pissed me off. It really pissed me off, and I don't think it deserves to be that high.
I'm locking in. It's going to bump Mega Twins down, so I'll put it right below Joe and Mac.
I'm cool with that. Sky wants to go a little higher, probably. Jordan might want to go a little lower. How are you guys feeling?
Oh my god, man.
yeah, I mean, I would put it right above Joe and Mac. So that's up to Jordan.
I wish that Metal Slug was higher. I'd rather play Slug than this, but I don't want to put it the whole way down at 11. Do I like Mega Twins or Crossed Swords more? Oh my god, why this one? This is so hard. Why is this one so difficult?
Because I think it's just in that zone of so many games that none of us feel too strongly about.
It's just so weird because this game is so unique compared to anything else we've played, and it does something so different. But my god, did it piss me off so much because I sat there at that cabinet for an hour and 45 minutes, and I could never figure out how to do it right.
I think they were just like so close to hitting a home run, but like they
Yes.
fell short in like the worst possible way. Like it was the combat is where they fell short, you know what I mean? Like they could have like kind of missed the mark in like some other aspects. It'd be a lot better. But when I'm fighting locked in combat for 2 hours straight, and that's the part that I feel like you missed up on, it's kind of like it's hard to give it a high rating. I'm at like for sure below Joe and Mac, but like had they just had the combat, you know what I mean? Like if you could actually like predict the moves just a little bit more to make you feel a little more skillful.
Yeah.
With everything else that it had, I would easily put this above Dungeons and Dragons. It would be number 3.
Woof.
Yeah, it has the potential. Yeah, personally, I could see this going as high as Bucky O'Hare status. I could see it dropping in that high, but I know some of you guys don't like it as much, so I'm cool with it landing under Joe and Mac.
I'm below Joe and Mac. I think I'd probably have this at maybe 8 above Mega Twins. I think. Also, guys, bad news. I'm watching video right now of the sequel to this game right now, and it does not look any better. I'm just gonna say that. I don't want to keep overthinking this. I would say at 8 between Joe and Mac and Mega Twins.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
I'm cool with that as well. I feel like that's our best spot for it. Sky, you got any closing arguments before we lock it in?
Oh, I don't think it matters what I say at this point.
Nah,
You,
he's
you
good.
guys are setting your ways on this one.
So we got Joe and Mac at 7, Cross Swords at 8, Mega Twins at 9. Everyone happy? Good.
No,
Lock it in.
I'm not gonna feel good about it for a while.
Everyone happy? Don't care. Moving on.
Let's move on. Jordan, let's take it into some trivia.
All right. Now that that's over with, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Trivia with your best friend Jordan. Scores right now: Sky is in the lead with 27 points. Brad has 20. Kyle, you only have 18. And Mike has 2 if you want me, and I'll just toss that in there as well. Sky, you're running away with us a bit here, man. Let's see if you can keep it up here. Question number 1. The sequel, Cross Swords 2, was released in Japan in what year? A, 1995, B, 1996, C, 1997.
I'm going to say 96.
I'll go with 95.
I'm going 97.
All right, the answer is 1995. Good job, Brad.
Nice.
Yay.
Question number 2. What is the name of the enchanted land that this game takes place in? A, Palista, B, Dio, C, Belcania.
I'll go Dia, my boy Dia,
I can't pick Dio. That's a person.
the holy diver.
Yeah, man.
Holy diver!
I'm going to go with C.
Yeah, I'm also choosing C.
Correct answer is C, Balcania. I don't know if it's Balcania. I've also seen some spots where there's no I in it at all, which would make it Balcana. So I don't know. It's something like that. But either way, all 3 of these are places in the game, but the overall land is C, Balcania. Question number 3. The first-person gameplay was likely inspired by what previous game also published by the same publisher, SNK? A, The Super Spy, B, Time Soldiers, C, Beast Busters.
I'm going to say Beast Busters.
I'll go with A, Super Spy.
Yep. A, Super Spy.
Correct answer is, of course, A, Super Spy. Brad and Scott, it took you a while to look your answer up there. Were you cheating?
Interesting.
We both knew the answer. We're waiting for the other one to say it.
Yeah,
Oh, did you
know
really?
if Brad knew or not.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. Fair
I
enough.
also don't like this question because it was likely inspired by. So was it really inspired by? Because anything's likely.
Oh, shut up, Skip. Shut up, Kyle.
So it likely could have been Beastbusters.
Also, I would like to point out that I still have the Crossed Swords 2 video playing right now, and it actually very conveniently just said Balkana, so there's no I in it. So it's just Balkana.
There we go. It's official now.
Likely official.
Likely official, just like this game was likely inspired by Super Spy. So that's 2 correct for Brad, 2 correct for Sky, 1 for Kyle. Brad's at 22, Sky's at 29, Kyle is at 19. Hasn't broken 20 yet.
All right, dude.
You're getting there, man. You'll get there next time, probably.
Likely I'll get there.
He's inspired to get there.
Was that all the questions?
That's it, man.
That was
That's 3
3.
questions.
Oh, was it 3? Why did I feel like I was 2?
Wow, dude, pay attention.
That went really fast.
All right. Think we've said enough about this game. Any last words, guys?
Get it out of my
None.
sight.
All right. Let's do that then. Sky, do you have something to say?
I don't think I really have anything else to say about this game.
Yeah, I didn't realize at first what he was doing.
I thought he was thinking for a minute. I was like, he kind of wants to say something, but he doesn't want to say it.
I'm not finished. No.
We'll move on now. The next game we'll be playing is Mega Man: The Power Battle. Follow us on social media at Arcadiology. We'd appreciate it if you left us a 5-star podcast rating or leave us a review, and we'd like to read it on the show. Or if you're feeling crazy, you can send us an email to arcadiologyquestions@gmail.com. I'll also have a link in the description. You can send questions and comments. There will be a form there. That might be a little easier than emailing. And yeah, that's about it. You guys want to say bye?
Later, dudes.
Nah, I don't feel like it.
Good. Bye.